Hello everybody, hope that you are good. Sorry because I know that for the last 7 or 10 days I haven't been very active, but I've been quite busy in real life and I was busy with that and I couldn't do much here. It's also quite difficult to keep up with my trading, also sharing some things in social media and real life. So I left a bit on the side the social media. I was still trading, not as much as I would like to, but I've taken a few trades. So I'm still going on my path of goals, but now I'm gonna be able to post more content, and because it's been quite a long time since I haven't posted any content and I didn't give you any guidance for the last week pretty much, I think that justifies to make a video in this moment because I can guide you through all the different time frames, explain my perspective, although it's not very important because it's just my opinion, but I know that some of you want to know my opinion, so I think a video is the best way. I'm gonna start with the weekly time frame, which is the highest time frame that I use. I rarely go on the monthly, I usually stay on the weekly. And the first thing that I want to say is that the last video I posted was 3 months ago, was the 2nd of August, and I remember we were here. We were exactly at 62k, right in here. And I was telling you guys, what a 62k, but you know what? It's not the time to buy yet, because I think I'm gonna go to the weekly 50 MA. Now, only 2 or 3 days after, price is back down to the weekly 50 MA. That's the level, and it created a long wick. I also called for that 50% of the wick getting filled. It happened. We tested it again, the weekly 50 MA, and support is working as a very strong support. I would say that that's our main support in high time frame. As I've always also said on Twitter several times, as long as price keeps above the weekly 50 MA, we're in a bull market. The weekly 50 MA, it can be a good sign to determine whether we are in a bear or bull market. You can go back and check what happens. But yeah, pretty much every time the price stays above the weekly 50 MA, we're in a bull market. For example, look at this, what happened here. Look at all of that price action. Look at all those wicks to the downside there, holding above the weekly 50 MA. Okay, then eventually here you have a little deviation, price goes above it, retrace, continuation. Okay, here the opposite happened, drop, retrace to test the weekly 50 MA resistance, and that is telling you here, especially with this retest here, that we're entering a bear market because the weekly 50 MA is acting as resistance. Okay, same as here, you go back up, retrace, you are holding it, you push again, continuation. Alright, so as long as we stay above the weekly 50 MA in the weekly time frame, of course, then we are fine, we can continue going up. That's what I think. So am I running any swing shorts? No. Why would I? If I believe that as long as we're above the weekly 50 MA, there is a big chance of price continue going higher. Alright, now the next thing is that if we go into the daily time frame, you can draw this as a range, but I prefer in this case to keep it as a channel. But again, I might differ with some of your opinions, but this is to me the way that I'm playing this. And here I want you to pay attention because this is quite key to me. This is when I notice, okay, I think we're gonna break out of this pattern and we're gonna see higher prices. And I'm gonna explain to you that this is a channel. So if we draw a channel here, okay, sorry, because I'm using the touchpad and I'm quite slow with it, but basically this is what you see in a channel. Okay, price is doing this and price doesn't do this. That's not how a channel works. Okay, channels, in my opinion and in my experience, what they usually do is this. They do all of this stuff that we've seen, and then in the moment that it wants to break up from this area, it goes to the 50% of the channel and then it can go up. Sometimes you can see that retrace here, and that's when we break up. But the key to me is this, that in my experience, we usually see the retrace quite shallow to the middle of the channel and all the way to the bottom again, all right? So that to me is quite important, and I'm going to explain to you why that is important to me. And it's simply because if you notice here, guys, hang on, I think I have it draw something like this. If you notice this, and I get that level there, you're going to notice how this is exactly the 50% between the range, well, between the top part of the channel and the bottom part of the channel. The 50% is exactly that level where we set a wick and then we saw a good bounce. So that is telling me that is happening, okay? That is telling me that this is a very, very likely breakout of this structure, because you go up, then you go to the 50% exactly, and that is your breakout. Now from here, we might get a retrace back to the top part of the channel, or we might not get it. That's optional, and from there we can continue going up. All right. Now also another thing that's quite interesting of this structure is that if you mark the highs, that 73,777, quite a strange number, okay? But then you can mark, for example, this strong resistance over here, okay? So I imagine that most of you will agree that that orange line there is quite a strong resistance. But if you notice, guys, look at this, okay? We set the high, fine. But then you have a wick here, another wick here, one more touch here, another one there, and this area here between the orange line and the yellow line, that is full of liquidity. This area here, that is full of liquidity. We have to run those highs at some point. And yeah, I'm telling you that if this is between 72,000 and 73,777, price needs to go and fill this area sooner or later. So yes, I'm favoring higher prices in higher time frame, because the structure that we've been talking about, that channel, that this looks like a breakout, and also because we have these highs here that we have to run at some point, right? So if you put those two things together, it's very likely that that's going to happen next. All right. Now, more things that I wanted to mention. I have a few things to mention, to be honest. Is on the 4 hours time frame, there is something that I don't really like much, and I'll tell you what it is. First of all, the 4 hour 50 MA, it's very, very extended. Look at that. We haven't really touched it since the 30th of October, and there is a price difference quite high of around 5%. And we've been 5 days without going to it, and really in this moment we could have dropped. It's true, we could have dropped to the 4 hour 50 MA, but price is still showing some strength. We're going to go back now in a minute to high block capital to see if there is any liquidity in this area. That spoiler, there is, but I want to show you that also. But my point is that at some point Bitcoin needs to retrace back to the 4 hour 50 MA. Now if Bitcoin continues running higher and consolidates a bit here and then it starts to drop, by then it's possible that the 4 hour 50 MA creeps all the way to this potential support over here. Okay, that would be the best case, because maybe then you establish here a range and you do a bit of consolidation here, maybe you run the lows, back off, maybe a little drop again, and continue going up. But right now what I want to see is that if I'm gonna take a day trade, it would be looking for a short scalp as a day trader to the 4 hour 50 MA. But the problem is, where can I short that from? That's also what I'm gonna try to go through in this video. But again, that's just my opinion. And again, as a day trader or a scalper, not really a scalper, more as a day trader, but not as a swing trader, because overall the trend is to the upside. All right. So yeah, that's the main thing in the 4 hours time frame. Now, if you don't mind, let's have a quick look at high block capital. Let's look at the liquidation heat map. So we're in high block capital and we're in the 1 month time frame. And if you take this area here, you're gonna notice how, yes, there is quite a lot of liquidity all the way to 69,300, but especially the hot places, the hot levels are 68,800 and especially 69,200, but all the way to 69,300. So that's the level I'm taking, okay? 69.3. Now, if you go into the 7 days time frame, which is a lower time frame, we're gonna see a few more interesting liquidation levels. So let's take all of this area here. And again, you can notice here, 69,300. So yeah, that is this a liquidation cluster that if you notice, we're already entering here. Because the liquidation cluster would have gone between 68,500 to 69,300 and we're already halfway. We're eating up all those liquidation points. But again, it's not finished. The job is not finished until we get to 69.3. So could 69.3k be a level, a potential level for a short, again for day traders, back to the 4-hour 50 MA? And then the question is, if we see that drop to the 4-hour 50 MA and it holds a support, could that be a good position, a good place to position yourselves in some altcoins if you haven't already? Again, let's check the 7 days time frame because I think there was a level to the downside that I didn't pay much attention to. So let's have a look. It's quite far still. It's 64,500, but it's too far. And this will change. This changes every 7 days, and it'll probably fade into the 1 month time frame. Not so with that much liquidity, but that's not a level I'm interested yet because I think that is going to be below the 4-hour 50 MA. So it doesn't really matter, does it? And then in the liquidation levels, which I haven't checked today yet, I'm going to change it to the max liquidity setting. Let's have a look. Okay, we have how much? $24.5 billion worth of long liquidations. Again, take this amount with a pinch of salt. It's not real. I'm using the max liquidity setting. It's just a calculation formula, a method to guess how heavily positioned the market is in one direction. And according to this, usually when we see the delta between 25 and 30 billions, that is telling you the price is likely going to reverse. And when it's between 30 and 35, usually my experience is telling me the reversal is about to happen. Now, it doesn't need to go all the way there, it can reverse from here, okay? But my point is that if we see this increasing to around 30 billions, which is only 5 from here, then price is very likely to reverse from that exact point. And if we start to see now price spiking up strongly to 69.3k at the same time as the delta increases to around $30 billion, that is telling you that this could be a confluence to see a reversal in price. Alright, so there's a few things that you can keep an eye on if you are using this tool of high block capital. It's something that I want to be paying attention to, and that is something that I wanted to mention. Now let's go back to the chart. So yeah, price action wise, 1 hour time frame, you can see occasional retraces to the 1 hour 50 MA and then bounces. You can see here, but you can also see here, and that is something that I would like to see in the 4 hour time frame. Why not? Why cannot I do something like this? For example, alright, give me that touch there, or at least a consolidation at the 4 hour 50 MA. Again, I'm not going to tell you the target because it's a dynamic target, it's a EMA, it's delayed, so it's gonna continue creeping upwards. But because a lot of market participants use this indicator, this metric, then I think it's quite important to keep an eye on. You can see here, for example, push up, retrace, continuation. Now, my validation for this idea, it's quite simple. I do think that if price loses or drops below this area here, 64,100, then that's gonna be quite, I mean, still you have the daily 50 MA, but it's not ideal because you would be falling, you would be breaking this structure here, which is a potential W pattern here. Okay, so you have there the retrace, continuation, retrace, continuation. So if price drops below this orange line, then it invalidates this next leg up. All right, that's also something that I wanted to mention. Yeah, overall I think that's everything that I want to say in this video. What else? The Bitcoin dominance, 59%. Benjamin Cohen. You must be a very happy man right now. I don't know. I doubt you're watching this or that this will get to you, but congrats. Because I've been seeing you calling this for, I think, a couple of years right now. It's been 2 years, I think. And he's always said the Bitcoin dominance is going to get to 60%. And come on, we're so close to it. It's not something bearish. And the Bitcoin dominance is a topic that I really like. And it's just something bearish. Benjamin mentioned 60%. And I liked his opinion. And I also charted this by myself. And I thought that what he said, it made a lot of sense. And I've been also supporting that theory for quite a long time. And my point is that, guys, if you notice here, look at the Bitcoin dominance, okay? This was some kind of resistance there, but then it got flipped into support, continuation, fine. We have been in a range here for 2 years. Look at this. Since May 2021 to May 2023, 2 years of a range. During this time, we didn't get any all seasons because this drop, for example, here, there's just an altcoin rally, nothing else, same as here, all right? And during this leg up here, altcoins are holding pretty well simply because Bitcoin has been going up non-stop. So altcoins haven't suffered that much. I know that we can be a bit dramatic here, and it seems that it's worse than it is, in my opinion. But altcoins have held pretty well. And we're seeing some new altcoins like Sui, or I don't know, there are many altcoins that have been doing really well. But my point is, if you want an alt season, then we needed this, okay? We needed the Bitcoin dominance to have a rally. Because the moment that it reverses, and I do think that it's gonna get back to the range highs, I don't think we're gonna end up back inside this range. But I do think we're gonna test the range highs. And that's a big drop if you notice of already 12%. Now, within that drop there, that is your old season, guys. If we see that drop, which I believe we will, that is your old season. Again, as long as Bitcoin doesn't drop, because if Bitcoin drops at the same time as the Bitcoin dominance drops, then the whole market is going to drop. It doesn't matter that there is an old season. It's going to be eclipsed by Bitcoin falling, okay? So you're not going to get what you want. But if you see the Bitcoin dominance dropping from 60% or 61%, and you see it dropping all the way to the range highs, which I think will happen, we only need Bitcoin to either go up, like it's been doing now, or just consolidate. If Bitcoin consolidates and the Bitcoin dominance drops, we're still going to see altcoins outperforming Bitcoin and doing really well. So, do I want to be positioned in alts? Of course, yes. Of course, yes, no doubt. And I do think that the time, it could be soon, to be honest. I think that the time could be soon. And that's why, if you are not positioned yet in altcoins, then consider doing so, because I haven't been positioned for quite a few months, and in the last month, 2 months, 3 months, that's when I've started buying, okay? Since I posted my last video of I'm buying at 53,000, and I told you some price levels where I was buying a lot of coins like Fetch AI, that we bought it at 0.82, now it's at 150 times 2 pretty much. Well, there's a lot of coins there, I'm not going to go through all of them. Maybe I do a new altcoin video soon, but my point is that if you haven't positioned yourself when Bitcoin fell to 53k, we're probably, and this is my opinion, we're not going to see these prices again. I think there is a high chance that Bitcoin continues going up, but for that, we have to take advantages of these drops, okay? Giving a drop to the 4-hour 50 MA, the Bitcoin dominance is rising, then Bitcoin drops. What's going to happen to altcoins? They're going to drop a lot. If Bitcoin drops here, altcoins drop here, and that is going to give you a good dip to buy into some altcoins, right? I don't want to go much into it, but I think I posted the chart of Sui. What do you think this coin is going to do if Bitcoin loses the 4-hour 50 MA? Look at it. Yes, it keeps going up, but come on, it's always so close to drop. Okay, so what happens now if Bitcoin goes a bit up and then it drops to the 4-hour 50 MA? Well, this coin, for example, is going to drop even more. It might drop all the way here to 160. Okay, that is telling you a potential 20% drop. I mean, why not? It's happened before, guys. Look at this. This and this is pretty similar. You also have the daily 50 MA catching up. I don't know. These are the type of setups that I'm looking at. As a day trader, looking to short Bitcoin once it gets to a level and a liquidation delta that I think that the chances are quite high to drop. I haven't been shorting all this time, so you cannot say, well, you've been shorting all the way up. No, I haven't. I've been longing all the way up, but now it's true that I see a likelihood for Bitcoin to reverse soon. Okay, so as a day trader, yeah, I might be looking for Bitcoin to drop and take advantage of the short, but as a spot trader or a swing trader, I'm looking forward that drop to add onto some swing longs or spot positions into some altcoins, because I do think that Bitcoin dominance is going to top up soon. Okay, so yeah, I think that's a good moment to wrap this up. Again, I want to apologize for not have been that active on X and on Telegram lately. Thank you everybody that have joined my bluffing referral link, that new exchange. I'm going to give you all access to the indicator, but we are still setting up the bot because I've been quite busy. So by the end of the month, it'll be ready, I promise you, and you will all have access to my indicator. That if we go very quickly to Bitcoin, we can see it functioning now. You can, for example, go to the 4-hour time frame, or it works in all time frames, and then you can start playing with it. For example, give me the week filler strategy. Any wheels that have not been filled, let me see. I guess that's a no. Let's continue. You can mark liquidity pools. You can change the 50 MA to the time frame you want. Although in the second version we want to add a second 50 MA, so you can have one running, for example, in the 4-hour time frame, and or another one in a different time frame. And liquidity pools. Look at this, guys. This liquidity pool to the downside is very far away, but to the upside, look at these two liquidity pools. And this is the area that I'm telling you that there is liquidity, because the highs haven't been hit yet. Okay, we have to run those highs still. So yes, there is quite a lot of liquidity there. Yeah, that's pretty much everything, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that the video was quite useful, and I'll see you soon.